Country music superstar John Rich has a message for Sean Diddy Combs as he faces sentencing, and the advice he has about bouncing back from defeat and the power of art. You have to hear it all on this edition of the Arroyo Grande Show. Come on. I'm Raymond Arroyo. Welcome to Arroyo Grande. Go subscribe to the show now. Turn those notifications on. I want you to know what's coming, and we've got some amazing things in the days ahead. Country music superstar John Rich is my guest on this episode. With Sean Diddy Combs recently found guilty on 2 counts of trafficking individuals for prostitution and immoral purposes, he now faces sentencing. The federal law he violated, the Mann Act, carries a maximum sentence of 10 years, which brought to mind comments John Rich made to me recently. The songwriter, singer, and father is a fighter, one whose faith moves him to call out injustices that he sees around him. He had some choice words for Diddy, and I also spoke to John about coming back after a defeat and the power of art. His advice is worth heeding. You've got a new song that I just heard.
Yeah, it hasn't been recorded yet.
But I've been reading about it, and it's inspired by Diddy.
Yeah.
Tell me about this song.
Yeah, well, if you can say you're inspired by Sean Combs. I saw a video a couple of weeks ago of that monster looking right into the microphone, bright lights on a stage. Mm-hmm. He looks in the camera and he goes, "I own your soul. I own it. I determine what your kids wear. I determine what your kids listen to. I determine all these things about your life, about your kids' lives." And he's got that look in his face, just like looking straight at the devil. And I said, look at this guy walking out here in broad daylight, saying he owns us and owns the souls of our children. Reminded me of Goliath walking out, Mr. High and Mighty, Mr. Powerful, biggest guy on the block walking out. When Goliath called out the Israelis and he's just mocking them incessantly. Yeah. And they all stood back like, what are we going to do? He's too powerful. He's too big. And then David walks up and hits him with a rock, which didn't kill him.
No. The sword
Once he knocked him down, he takes Goliath's own sword and cuts his head off. So I go, okay, Sean Combs. So your weapon of choice is music, correct? Mm-hmm. Mine too. Nice to meet you. So I thought, you know what? Nobody's written a song about these devils. Nobody's written that. So.
Well, it's really not about the devils. It's about the defiant reaction to the devil.
Correct. We are not supposed to, as Christians, be weak. Mm. The people that wrote the books in the Bibles were not weak people. Jesus was not a weak. Jesus was so strong, he allowed human beings to torture him to death. He allowed them to do that. It says in the Bible that we are supposed to be weapons in the hands of God to tear down the thresholds of hell itself. Mm-hmm. A weapon cannot swing itself. An axe cannot cut down a tree by itself. It takes an operator to pick that axe up. Now you hope when you pick it up that it is heavy and it is sharp and it has cut trees down before. Mm-hmm. And when you start wailing away at that tree, chunks of wood are going to go flying. You hope that tool is ready when you're ready to pick it up. Mm-hmm. So I look at myself and I look at other Christians in this country that we better be preparing ourselves to be the tool he created you to be. Maybe one guy's an axe, one guy's a screwdriver, one guy's this, one guy's that. They do this. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got their job. But be prepared for him to use you in the way he wants to use you to bring it to these people. Raymond, the most egregious sin I believe a person can commit is to harm children. Mm. And the reason I believe that is because Jesus Christ himself said in the New Testament, you'd be better off to have a millstone tied around your neck and cast into the sea than to ever cause one of these little ones to stumble. He didn't say to kill them or hurt them or abuse them. He said to mess with them at all, to mess with their innocence at all. You'd be better off dead than ever being that person. So we know how the Son of God felt about it. Mm. And now we look around our country and Tom Homan's going, there's 300 to 500,000 missing kids that we know about that have come across the border. Mm. That's not even taking into account all the other ones
The
that didn't come
100,000
across
plus
the border.
American citizen children who are missing.
And we're allowing this to go forward. And then you got people like Sean Combs standing there on television telling us that he owns our souls and owns our kids' lives. How long are we going to sit around and just let them keep talking to us like that? Because it ain't just talk. They're doing it.
So that's what set you off to write this song.
Oh, big time. Can you tell?
While I get my gun.
Can you tell?
Oh, yeah, I can. I could feel it in the lyrics.
My face is getting hot talking about it.
Tell people about the song, about the lyric. I mean, it's basically, go and repent now, brother, while I go get my gun. This is not, I'm going to go pray for you.
The point of the song is, you come after my kids, horrible things are going to happen to you. You will not survive what happens to you if you come after my kids. You will not survive. You think you're tough? Try it one time. Come on. Come on up my road. Come on up and try to get my kid one time. Try to take one of my sons and see what I do to you, is what the song is all about. And it talks about, because we fight with the sword of the Heavenly Father and we ain't afraid to die. Are you afraid to die for your kids?
No.
Me either. I would stand right in front of whatever I had to, gladly, happily.
That song's going to pop.
To keep them, to keep these demons off my kids.
You know that song's going to be a huge hit. Not because you wrote it to be a big hit, but because it resonates.
I wrote it out of sheer anger towards these people. And I want, most of them probably won't hear this song. I don't even know when I'm going to put it out. Probably pretty soon. Doesn't matter if they don't hear it. I want parents to hear it. I want parents, moms and dads, to realize we do not have to put up with these people and listen to them and give no rebut back to them, because they're so powerful. They have no power. Their power comes from the father of lies, and we all know what happens to him. He gets utterly destroyed in the end. You see what I'm saying?
I do. And John, I love that you're writing. This is the path of every artist, whether it's Irving Berlin or the great novelists of the 18th century. They're writing about their time, and they're using their art to speak to that moment.
Correct.
And that makes it like the book of Revelation. It's true in the moment it was written. It's true for all time.
Yeah.
And in the case of Revelation, it's going to happen in the future too. So it's
right.
It's the alpha and the omega. It's all of it.
Right.
Art has that same power, though, in some ways. Do you feel a part of that? And has that, and why aren't others speaking to that same? Country music always reflected the heart of the people in a powerful, direct way. And we're still singing, He Stopped Loving Her Today. And we're still singing those songs.
Yeah.
Because they were so true in the moment they were written. Do you feel this is a part of that tradition?
Yeah, I just feel that the age we're in currently in the world and in our country, sometimes I wonder if Johnny Cash was alive in 2024, what would he say? If Charlie Daniels, who was a good friend of mine, if he was still around, he died in 2020, right before it all got crazy, what would he say? Now, these are old men, and I have to think there's a big advantage to being an old man, being in your 80s, that you just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not an old man. I'm 50, so I'm not a young guy, but I'm not an old guy. Yeah. And I don't care. Matter of fact, it worries me more if something is laid on me to go say, and I don't say it. That is more dangerous than saying it, because guess who you just upset? The boss. I put that on you, and you did not follow through with it. So guess what? I ain't sending you any more of those, or whatever else he might decide to do. I think he opens doors for people who have enough nerve to run through them. I don't think he opens doors for everybody. I think he opens especially the dangerous doors. The doors he goes, I need this to be said. I need people to hear this message, song, whatever it might be. And so I'm going to put it in that kid's brain and see if he's got enough you-know-what to carry through with it. And I'll be honest, it is unnerving to talk about those things, those subjects.
What do your colleagues say to you?
Most of them that are my actual friends, thank you for saying that. I wish I could say that. I get that a lot.
I'll bet.
I'll have some of the biggest country artists out there, even some of the new ones that are massive right now, back channel and direct message me on X. Hey, I heard that interview you did with so-and-so. Keep it up. Wish I could say that. I wish I could show you those over and over and over that say that. And I go, well, that's I wish they would say it, but I understand why they don't. They're right in the middle of what's going on.
Yeah.
I know what's at stake. So maybe my job, Raymond, is right now is to keep your mind standing wide open, and he hits you with something that he wants to be said, write it down, do it the best you can, and unapologetically slam it out there.
Tell me about your father, Jim, who was a pastor. But he spread the gospel in an interesting way. I read he always had a guitar with him.
Yeah.
Tell me how that marked you, what you learned from him.
Yeah, he's a singer, songwriter, actually went to college on a vocal scholarship, like he's a real singer. And at 19, he said I was called to go preach at 19. Huh. And so he said, so that's what I started doing. He started on college campuses where he was going to school. And then when he got out of there, he went to the Democrat National Convention right after that.
Wow.
And then he started going to places like Mardi Gras, the Indianapolis 500, all kinds of major events around the U.S. And he would go out in the streets and take his guitar and take a speaker and on a appliance cart, stand it next to him and start singing. And I asked him, why? I mean, I understand the point of why you're doing that. Mm-hmm. What a great thing to do. But man, you're such a charismatic guy. You're such a great minister. You could have been preaching at a massive church somewhere. He goes, yeah, because the people I was told to preach to will never walk into one of those churches. The people I was told to preach to. So prisons, Mardi Gras, like go where the people are who are never gonna walk in a front door of a church building. They're the ones that need to hear what I have to say.
Do you feel that calling on your life now?
I think...
I hear it in your music now, John.
Yeah, I think to a large degree, an audience that I've been able to build up with his help since the mid-'90s with the band Lone Star and then Big and Rich and then solo and combinations of those things. They get used to hearing you sing hit country songs. Yeah. And they go, I love your music, I love your music, I love your music. Well, now when they come up to me, they go, I love what you stand for. I like your music. I really love what you stand for. So I guess with the skill set and audience I've built over all these years, I'm now able to write songs that mean something other than just a check or an award or a plaque on the wall. Like you can put into gear a piece of music that in 3 minutes can communicate more to people, get them to think more deeply than if you talk to them for 3 weeks, than any speech anybody could ever get. You're a musician. You know the power of music. It disarms people. It opens up a different part of their mind. I believe a different part of their spirit as well.
Their soul.
And their soul. And when they hear something that's real, that's truth, and it's wrapped in music, it's a really powerful thing.
And the guitar, you and your father shared guitar lessons when you were young.
Yeah, that's how I learned how to play. My dad, you don't get real rich preaching in prisons and at Mardi Gras. I mean,
you get rich in different ways, John Rich.
Well, sure, of course, absolutely, but not monetarily. Yeah. And so he had a lot of different jobs. My dad slopped hogs at a barn on the weekends. He was the night watchman at Amarillo National Bank, where I'm from. He sold cars, and he gave guitar lessons. And so when I was a little kid, probably 5, my dad goes, he's walking out the door and he goes, you want to go with me to the music store and do guitar lessons? I was like, yeah, let's go, I get to go with Dad.
Wow.
And so I go in there and there's this whole semicircle of adults and they got their guitars out. He pulls up a little chair for me and goes, here, just sit right behind me, and hands me like a little cheapy guitar. Just follow along. Well, after a few weeks of tagging along, I'm sitting at the house playing better than the adults were playing, and he went, wow, you picked that up pretty fast, didn't you? I said, it's really fun, and so then he said, you want to sit behind me in the pulpit sometimes when I go preach at these places and back me up? I said, yeah. So that's where I got into playing the guitar, was wanting to play with my dad.
What did your dad teach you about spiritual warfare and the power of music and the gospel to counter evil?
My dad preached a lot on that, still does. That basically everything you see happening in the flesh has already happened in the spiritual side. Mm-hmm. It plays out down here amongst all of us. And that it's always really important to remember that when you meet an individual that seems vile or that seems violent, angry, way out of whack. He said, look at that person and realize that is not how they were born. They were not created to become that. Yeah. They started out as an innocent little baby, okay? They weren't like that. At some point in their life, the other side got a hold of them and ripped their life to shreds, and this is how they are now. And, when you look at presidents, for instance, my dad and I had a conversation about that before this last election, and he says, well, if Trump wins, it'll be an act of God. And if Trump loses, it'll be an act of God.
I want to talk about your origin story. You leave home, graduate high school, you go to Opry Land.
Right.
Why Opry Land? What? Had you gone there as a child?
Have you been to Opry Land?
I went as a kid multiple times.
There you go.
Yes, we loved it.
Yeah. So Opry Land, for people that don't know, is a big theme park in Nashville for a very long time. Live country music, bluegrass, gospel. And they had roller coasters and log rides and everything else. And so as I was a senior in high school, a friend of mine says, oh, look at this. Back when we had a newspaper. Oh, look at this. Opry Land's having auditions. I went, oh, that's cool. Yeah. Been there 100 times. He goes, you should audition for that. I said, they're not going to hire me. He goes, why not? I said, because you got to dance and do all this stuff. I said, he goes, well, there's going to be a bunch of good looking girls there. I said, well, no, that is true. That's a good point. He goes, you should just go down there. I'll go down there with you. I said, okay, fine. So I drove my 1971 Dodge Dart Swinger, which I still own, by the way. Wow. Drove it down there and I auditioned. And I got the call back.
With your guitar?
Just me and a guitar. They didn't make me dance or anything. I just sang.
Okay.
Got the call back, came back, sang again, and they said, can you dance? And I said, I can two-step. I'm from Texas. I said, I can do that, but that's about it. They go, can you learn some stuff? I said, maybe. I don't know. They said, well, it doesn't matter because you're hired. You're in. So I knew halfway through my senior year, I would be working at Opry Land. So that's the first time I ever got a real check. I think it was $330 a week to do Opry Land, which is where I met the guys that started the band Lone Star.
Right. Dean Sams. How did you meet Dean?
Well, he worked at Opry Land.
What?
He had been there several years, and I wound up on a show with him, and he heard how high I was sang. I was first tenor. I was really high first tenor. And he said, hey, we're putting a band together, a bunch of guys from Texas. You're from Texas. He said, man, your voice is so high. We need somebody that can hit those high notes like we're going to, covering modern day country music. Because at that point, you still had a lot of harmony, Russ's Heart and Alabama and all that. I said, oh, that's cool. He goes, you play bass, right? I said, I mean, yeah, I can play a bass. I'm thinking, how hard could it be? It's only got 4 strings. How hard could it be? The answer was, no, I was not a bass player. So he goes, great, learn these songs. And he hands me a cassette tape of the top 20, I think the first 20 out of the top 40 country songs of that week. Wow. So we're gonna have a little get together this weekend. So I called a friend of mine who was a pro bass player. I said, can you show me how to play bass on all these songs this week? And by the way, can I borrow a bass and a cable and an amp? He goes, sure, I can show you how to do it. So he goes, here's the technique. And here's it. So I spent 8-9 hours a day leading up to that little rehearsal with my thumb. You're supposed to I play it like this now, doing this, trying to find all the notes, and went to the rehearsal, and they said, okay, you can stay in the band because you can sing higher than Richie McDonald, which was the lead singer, but you got to get better at the bass or you can't stay in the band. I said, you got it. And that's what really made me not go to college, because the guys called up and said, hey, we got a booking agent that can put us on the road for about 200 dates this year. I said, I'm supposed to go to college. I said, I've got a full ride scholarship to Belmont University on a vocal scholarship. They go, well, you're going to have to pick. And I went to my dad and I said, I don't think I'm going to go to college this year. He went, do what? He said, what are you going to do instead of that? I said, I'm going to get in a van, pulling a trailer with a bunch of guys who are 10 and 15 years older than me, and we're going to go play Holiday Inn lounges, rodeos, and casinos. This is the dad who preaches at Mardi Gras.
So he knew this world.
But
he
having sons now, I can't even imagine the pit in his stomach that must have given him. But he said, what's your ultimate goal? I said, my ultimate goal is I want to write hit songs, be on country radio, and play the Grand Ole Opry. I don't know how going to college is going to do that. He goes, it won't. I said, so he goes, that's what you think you need to do. You're a grown man. I was 18. You're a grown man.
Wow.
So that's what I did. I took off on the road and never looked back.
And you have a number 1 hit, of course, not long thereafter.
Come Crying to Me hit number 1. That was my first number 1.
How did that come to be?
So in Nashville, when you get a record deal, back then you would get a de facto publishing deal. Because you have a record deal, you get a default publishing deal.
Right.
And when that happens, they'll take these greenhorn songwriters like me and sit you in the room with Hall of Famers. I mean, like the greatest country songwriter minds that have ever existed. And you're sitting in the room with them, and they're trying to write songs to get on your new record. That's the point. And they figure if one of the guys in the band is a writer on it, he'll vouch for the song. We got a better shot
push
to get
it into
cut.
the album.
Right. So I got to sit in the room with all these guys, and I guess by just really watching them and osmosis, I started getting a lot better. And so Come Crying to Me was actually a co-write. It was a three-way write. So it was me and two established songwriters, but it was my title, and I had the thing going. I would always walk in with an idea started, and they go, that's a really good idea, let's write that. Wound up being my first number one.
Wow. What did you learn from them that you didn't know before, sitting in that room? Because you always pick great, I mean, when you're working with people at the top of the game, I always tell my kids, you really want to know how this works? Go find the best people in this game.
100%.
Sit next to them, clean their toilets or offices. Do whatever you need to do to be near them.
Yes, do not hang out with people that are at your level if you can keep from it. You know, you can say all day, well, I'm really good compared to this one, and that one, and that one. Yeah, but are you pretty good compared to Johnny Cash?
Right.
No, and you never will be. You're pretty good compared to George Jones? No. Okay, then keep their faces on the wall when you're writing, which is what I have at my house. What you learn from pro country songwriters which is what I know now and how I do it. And if you listen to my songs, you'll hear this play out. The first line of the song better get your attention. I mean, right out of the gate, you better say something. Bang, gotcha. That way they'll hear the second line and the third. And really, you want every line in the song to be a standalone thought. I'm kind of I'm a still picture songwriter. So some people, it's all different styles, but some people like to write, some chronological story, and that's fine too. I love those songs.
Yeah.
But for me, 90% of what I write would be, I'm sitting here with you, I take a mental picture of this room, and I write what's happening in that room. So you could literally watch the picture and listen to the song and be in the picture. I write in pictures. I try to put you in the spot, make you smell it, feel it, taste it. I want you to feel what's going on in this situation of the lyrics. So almost voyeuristic to a degree. I've been able to write songs for other people. Faith Hill said, I wish you'd write me a song. I said, I'd love to write you a song, Faith. What do you want to sing about?
Mississippi, being from Mississippi.
You know my history. You did your homework.
Well, I know your songs.
Yeah, she says, I said, what do you want to sing about? She goes, I don't know. Write a song where it would only make sense if I sang it. No other girl singer could even sing it. It wouldn't even make sense for them. I went, well, that's quite a homework assignment. Huh, okay. All right, let me think about it. So we're out on tour with Tim McGraw at the time, and Faith was out there. And during the day, you see Faith Hill back in the back parking lots by the tour buses, flip-flops, cut-off jeans, ball cap, sipping a Corona, got her kids playing in a kiddie pool. I mean, just mom. And then the concert hits, and Faith comes walking off the bus in an evening gown and diamond earrings, and her hair's all done. And she's singing It's Your Love with Tim McGraw in front of 30,000 people. And 5 minutes later, she's right back in the parking lot with her flip-flops, ball cap, right back to that. I said, that's what the fans don't know about Faith. Because she had been doing some Hollywood movies at that point, and a lot of the fans said, oh, she's gone Hollywood. She forgot about where she came from. So I said, I'm going to write a song about where she comes from. So the first line of the song, it's a long way from Star, Mississippi, her hometown, to the big stage I'm singing on tonight. So Martina can't sing that, Shania can't sing that, Gretchen can't sing that, Reba can't sing that. Because none of those people are from Star. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's approaches that I've taken to songs, all various approaches, but in general, it's writing in pictures.
Gretchen Wilson, then you write Redneck Woman for Gretchen Wilson.
That's
was that after the Faith Hill?
That was right before Faith. Faith came to me because she heard that.
She heard that one.
She said, I want a Redneck Woman for me. I need my song.
I don't blame her. She's got a good ear.
Yeah, it was quite a challenge.
All right, I want to take you back. What happened with Lone Star? They boot you out of the band.
Yes, they did.
Why?
Because I deserved it.
Why?
Because I was a real ass.
And
I
what
was
did you
hard
learn
to
from
deal
it?
with, man.
Why were you so difficult? You're feeling your oats. You got number one hit right out the gate, right?
Yes, and when you grow up, so I grew up in a double wide trailer, Amarillo, Texas. We didn't miss meals, but there wasn't any extra laying around, and a lot of people around me had said, not my dad, but others were down on me all the time growing up. I was a very, as you can imagine, headstrong kid. Yeah. And when I finally broke through and made it to the other side and started having real big success like that, I took success like a hammer. And anybody that had ever messed with me, I just whack them in the head with it. By the way I would talk, the way I would live, what I would drive, how I would present myself, what I would say in a meeting, what I would say on a microphone. I mean, just 100% totally engrossed with my own arrogance. And so at one point, the band just said, you know what, we've had just about enough of you. I think it's time for you to go.
Wow.
Which sucked, because the very next song they put out was Amazed.
Yeah.
One of the biggest songs in country history. And I was sitting at home in my little apartment that I no longer could pay for because I just lost my income, lost my record deal, and lost my what? Publishing deal, because by default you get the pub deal. Lost them both. Lost the management, lost the business manager, lost the shows on the road, lost all of it. Boom, just like that in a phone call. So I'm sitting at home watching my old band accept the award for Amazed. And so...
And you thought what when you watched it?
Oh, I was viciously upset at them initially, and then started realizing, well, I would have fired me too. I would have fired me. I deserve being fired over that. So I thought, well, now what do I do? Maybe I can get a solo record deal. I got one.
And you got one.
I got one, and it flopped. Put out 2 songs, and neither one of them hit, so I lost that deal. Now I'm a 2-time loser. I got kicked out of a band. My solo deal failed, and in country music, that's a big deal. If you can't hit, radio goes, no, he tried, it didn't work, next. I mean, it is just like that. It was at that point I got some really good advice from a couple of the older songwriters, and they said, listen, when everything is out of your control, find the one thing you can still control and control it well. They said that could be what you're eating, how many push-ups did you do today, whatever. Find what you can still control and control it well. Where for me, that was a pencil and a piece of paper.
Writing. Back to your core, writing.
So in the course of about 4 or 5 years, I wrote around 700 to 800 songs, because you couldn't stop me from writing. And I could write
constantly.
whatever I want every single day, all the time.
How were you making ends meet? What were you doing?
There was still a little bit of money coming in from Come Crying to Me and a couple of other things, but that's about it. That's about it. It was burning down.
Pickings.
And then I meet Big Kitty, which I know you're going to ask about.
Yeah.
And he was kind of the same thing, where he was just writing every single day and misunderstood by the industry. You know, my angle at country music was AC/DC with a banjo player. That's what it sounded like. That's what I wanted to sound like. You know, I wanted to do Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. Lone Star wanted to do Mr. Mom. They wanted to do love songs and family songs.
Ballads,
and I wanted to do stuff that make the college campus
light up.
Yeah. So controlling what I could control in that time period, none of those songs got recorded in that span of time. But the second Big and Rich and Gretchen hit, Aldine also hit, which I wrote 4 number ones on his first record. Wow. And then the whole city starts coming to me and goes, you got any more songs like these? I go, yeah, here's 900. Here you go.
You're giving them.
So there was just a raid on my catalog where everybody wanted to cut those kinds of songs. And so all the stuff I'd been stockpiling now was valuable.
So what's the lesson for people who find themselves in those positions, those predicaments, where God may be hitting you across the head with a 2x4 to reorient you? Do what you can control. Is that the lesson?
Boil it down to the simplest thing that you can still control. And it could, like I said, it could be what you're eating every day. It could be that you're going to call your mother every day. It could be whatever it's going to be. You go find a charity you're going to want to go work with and go do the best you can at that. You basically start rebuilding yourself. What you'll find is when you get that next opportunity, which you will, because opportunities continue to come for people that continue to push.
Right.
All that stuff that you screwed up in those first times come to bear again, and you go, oh yeah, I'm not going to be that guy this time. I'm going to be this guy. And that's a never-ending process.
I love that story. I mean, I read about this, that you're rebuilding, but you're quietly and maybe unbeknownst to you rebuilding the future, because in the panic, in the loss, in the hurt, you found why you were here.
Well, there's 2 ways that could have gone. When you're that upset and now you're embarrassed in front of the whole industry and your money is gone, 2 ways to go. One, drink your face off 24 hours a day and wind back up down on Broadway playing in a bar somewhere as the guy who used to be in Lone Star, and that's your claim to fame for the rest of your life. A lot of people do make
go
that
down
move.
that path.
Oh, a lot of them.
Yep.
The other is to drill back down into what got you in the game in the first place. What's your original goals? Go back to piece of paper and a pencil, cheapest thing in the world. Everybody has that.
How did you and Big Kenny meet? How did you meet? And why did the partnership work?
There was a girl that worked for Fender Guitars named Cindy Simmons. And back then, Cindy's job, she was an artist rep. So her job was to find up-and-coming singers that she thought might get a record deal or might whatever, and get them early and say, oh, I see you're playing that. Nothing against your guitar, but that's not a great guitar. And they go, yeah, that's all I could afford. She goes, how about if I get you a brand new Fender guitar? And they go, what? She'd go, here you go. And she'd try to get them to play Fenders. And then hopefully they'd go hit, almost like venture cap.
Right.
If I can give it to 100 artists, 3 of them get deals and then they're playing Fenders.
Right.
So she had done that with me and done that with Big Kenny. And we didn't know each other. She knew the two of us separately and had told him and told me about the other and hit me up one night and said, hey, Big Kenny is playing a show down at Douglas Corner. I said, okay, I'm going to be down there. Come on down there. I want you to hear him. I said, can I ask you a question? Why big? I said, is he big and fat, big and loud, big and tall? What is, that's
What's
the
the
dumbest
big?
thing I've ever heard. Why is he called that? She goes, just come see him and it'll make sense when you see his show. I said, okay, fine. So I go down, and sure enough, he walks out on stage. He is tall. He's about 6'4".
He's big.
But all his hair, and he's going, hey, everybody. He's like Willy Wonka. And I was like, what is that?
Hagrid.
Didn't like him at all. I'm like, that's
No.
a strange individual. I wonder what he sings like. And then I hear about 60 minutes of his set, and I went, I don't know what I just heard, but that was some of the most creative things I've ever heard somebody write. Wow. So when it was over, walked up to him, hey, man, I'm John. He goes, oh, hey, I've heard about you, right? And he goes, Cindy says we ought to write a song. He goes, what are you doing tomorrow morning? I go, I'm not doing anything. He goes, well, you want to come over to my house and write a song so she'll leave us alone, basically. I said, yeah, I'll come over. We wrote that next day. That was October of 99. Next day we wrote again, next day, next day, next day. And we have written hundreds and hundreds of songs. And as a joke, people started calling us Big and Rich. We'd show up at somewhere late at night to come hang out, and everybody go, oh, look, it's Big and Rich, ha ha. That's where that came from.
That's where it came from.
Yeah. So Kenny and I are really polar opposites on many, many things, including creatively. And so what's interesting about that is I'll come at you with a straight line, and he's coming at you with flowers. It's like I said, Kenny likes to smell the flowers, and I like to mow them down. But when you lock those two together, what do you get, Raymond? You get a 360 view at the whole song, at the whole subject that you're writing, whether it's a love song, party song, whatever song. So that locking in of the two opposites like that have really created something special.
I know it's hard to describe why a creative partnership works. It's always hard. I mean, I remember talking to Jerry Lewis about why he and Dean Martin worked.
Right.
And he knew, but he didn't know. Mm-hmm. Why does this partnership work?
I would take that answer. I would say, you know, but you don't know. One of the reasons it probably...
Well, Jerry said it was love.
Well, okay. I would say between Kenny and I, it's mass respect for the other person's competency and ability and creative energy. I don't have what he has, and he does not have what I have, and we both know that. You know, it's like in a relationship, if you're both the same, one of you is irrelevant. That goes for marriage, too.
That is exactly right.
You know, it's the opposites attract. Well, that's a real thing. I mean, you want to be strong where they're not, and you want them strong where you're not. And I think even though, you know, we've disagreed over the years strongly on a lot of different things.
Like what?
We've disagreed on political things. We've disagreed on musical things, business moves. You can imagine it's a duo, man.
It's hard.
Both have to agree or it does not happen. Right? And so if you had, you know, 3 people, or it's a band like Lone Star, majority rules. There's no majority in a duo.
Yeah.
Right? It's one and one.
Partnership.
Yeah, but throughout now, you're looking at 20 years since our first record came out. It came out in 2004.
Amazing.
We're still on the road doing 50, 60 cities a year. The crowds are, I would argue, maybe bigger than they were back in the day. All our original fans are all still there, and now it's their kids are all coming out. You got college girls hanging out with their moms going, save a horse, ride a cowboy. I mean, they're loving it. And then the Patriot crowd from songs like 8th of November.
Right.
It's just massive at our shows. So I think we're a good example of how Americans ought to try to be. Me and Big Kenny are.
You get your first record deal. You had to be worried about that first record, coming off of what you would come off of.
Well, the whole music industry, except for one guy, said, Big and Rich music what is that? I mean, is this a clown show? Like, what are you guys trying to do? I mean, first of all, John kicked out a Lone Star. His solo deal totally failed. And what is a Big Kenny? I mean, really? And you've got a big black rapping cowboy, Cowboy Troy, who at that point's working at Foot Locker in Dallas, Texas. They're like, guys, it sounds like a lot of fun. Enjoy playing that in the bars. That was everybody's answer,
Really?
except one guy named Paul Worley. And Paul Worley is one of the best record producers, guitar players that's ever been. Highly creative guy. He signed the Dixie Chicks and a bunch of other. He was producing Martina McBride. And he heard about us at a jam we were doing called the Music Mafia, where Paul's daughter, Ashley, had started coming to these little Music Mafia, 70, 80 people crammed into a room on Tuesday nights. Me and Kenny and other artists that we knew that nobody had a record deal, we would jam. And Paul came down and saw that. He goes, you guys want to come to my office tomorrow? I just became the president of Warner Brothers Records last week. We went, yeah, we'd love to come to your office. We're thinking we're going to pitch him a song for somebody. We get in his office, he goes, no, I want to talk about Big and Rich. I think that's a thing. We go to his office and he said, play me some songs that you would play if you had your own record. So we started playing those songs and he slams his hand down on the table. He goes, boys, I want to do this. Kenny goes, you want to do what? He goes, I want to sign Big and Rich to Warner Brothers Records. And I looked at Kenny, I said, are you hearing this? He goes, are you serious right now? And he goes, yeah, I want to do it. And we went, well, all right. We high-fived.
That was it.
And off to the races. So he was short of him seeing that there was something there, I doubt you'd have ever heard of us.
Horse of a Different Colors, that first album.
That's right.
They fought you, though, on the song, including some of your biggest hits.
The industry hated that record.
Why?
Because it didn't sound like anything that had ever happened. And Nashville goes through these phases. I think it's in one right now. It's trying to break out, where it sounds like they all went to the school of redundancy school.
You mean the truck? I left my truck running school?
I mean, same tempo, same chord progressions. Everybody looks the same. The storylines are all the same. And it's kind of gotten back into that. There's a few breakouts starting to push out now, but at this point in country music, that's where it was at that point. And they said, you don't fit on country radio. What are you even singing about? I mean, really? You guys are writing songs based off of bumper stickers you saw, which is exactly what Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy was.
What?
Oh, he has a bumper sticker.
You saw a bumper sticker that said
A friend of ours saw it, yeah, and said, that'd be a funny song, right? We're like, yeah, it would be a funny song.
Let me go right.
And it was a funny, and it is a funny song.
But they said, no, don't do it. They said this is going to trivialize you.
If you put this on the record, guys, nobody's going to take you seriously. And we said, but yeah, when we played at Music Mafia, people go nuts. They're like, okay, we'll put it on the record. We'll just bury it in the track count. We'll put it at track 7 or 8. It's not going to be a single, though. We went, that's fine. Just let us put it on the record. So we put the record out. A song called Wild West Show was our first single. And when that single came out, the whole record became available. So fans started buying the record. Next thing you know, radio stations are getting, hey, can you play track 7 on the Horse of a Different Color record on drive time on Friday?
Wow.
A station in Florida played it one time. Phones exploded. And we went, the record label goes, well, I guess it's going to be the single.
The single now.
Thank goodness, because if we walked out and didn't play Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy, they'd be throwing stuff at us, you know?
How do you write and where do you write?
Well, I write for various. You say, how do I write?
How do you write? Like, I like to be in my room. I like quiet. I don't like a lot of noise when I write. But I'm not writing music.
Right.
So where do you go? Do you have to be in a place or you write wherever you are?
I sat next to Tom Petty one time in L.A. at the ASCAP Expo, which is a huge songwriters deal. It was Usher, Tom Petty, and me. I'm the country guy on the panel. And a lady asked Tom Petty from the audience, Mr. Petty, how do you get your ideas for your songs?
I didn't ask you that one. I know, bumper stickers.
He's leaning back in his chair. He goes, well, I just stick my antenna out there as far as it'll go and wait for a song to drift across it. And then he just stopped talking. The whole place went.
Okay,
I started clapping, yay, Tom. And I heard that answer. I went, that is not far off from exactly how it is.
Right.
I don't know what it is in a songwriter's brain, but you don't just walk around thinking about songs all the time. But there is a spot that if you give me 3 or 4 minutes, it's almost like you can turn a key and it opens up. I always point to this down in my head. It feels like they come out of here for some reason, but all of a sudden it opens up, and you, as a songwriter, I will hear melodies, rhythms, lyrics, all kinds of stuff. It's almost like a faucet. Turn it on and turn it off, turn it on. Every now and then one will hit me so hard that I wasn't in the frame of mind to write a song, and it will literally just come into my head. Like as loud as you can imagine, and that doesn't happen very often. It happened with a song called Revelation recently,
talk to you about that.
That's when you grab a guitar off the wall and tell everybody, okay, I'm going off in another room. I need an hour. And you get your pencil out and you get to going after.
But you write alone. You like quiet when you write. When you're working the song out.
If I'm working
I don't
a song,
mean the
I
inspiration.
gotta be by myself.
That's it. That's what I figured.
Yeah, because you're wrestling with your own thoughts. You know?
Is it harder writing for others when you write Redneck
Easier.
Woman, or easier? I mean, you wrote for Taylor Swift as well.
Yeah. Easier writing for somebody else.
Because you can see the whole person
I
afar.
can see them. I can't see me.
It's harder writing
I
for
can
yourself.
see you. You want me to write a song about you and about this podcast
God
you're doing?
help
I can
you.
do that for you in about 10 minutes. I can have you a song ready to go.
A new Arroyo Grande
Yeah,
theme
because
song.
I
I'll
can
take
see
it.
you, I can hear you, I know what you're about, I know what the point of this is.
Yeah.
But if you're writing it from your own perspective, man, that's a deep spot to go to, because there's nobody to bounce it off of. You're wrestling with your own thoughts. What am I feeling about this subject that I need to get on the paper as strongly as possible?
Why have you gone more political in recent years? Is that just where you feel God taking you, the times taking you and your music?
I think after my 2 sons were born and started to get old enough to realize Dad is part of this industry here, and they would watch me get upset at the television screen like we all do, and be talking to my wife about something going on in the music industry that I didn't like, but then turn right around, cowboy up, walk out the door, hit the red carpet, go play patty cake with all these people I was just yelling about. It's hypocritical. That's being a hypocrite in front of your own 2 sons. And one day that hit me really hard. I said, I am being a hypocrite. Not only am I upset that they're watching me do that, I'm upset that I'm watching me do that. How long am I going to keep this up? Because the record labels and the industries are telling me at this point, do not do that interview with Raymond. Do not go on that network. Do not talk about this on social media. No, 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 no. They would have meetings about it. I'd make a comment, something they didn't want me talking about, and they'd have a full-blown meeting with the press, their press people at the record label, and bring me in and say, you got to stop doing that. You're going to blow your career up. And I listened to that for quite a while. I'd go, okay, well, I don't want to blow my career up, and I don't want to cost Kenny his career, and I got a band and crew and bus drivers and wife and kids, and okay, I'll back up. But after a while, man, it got to the point where I said, yeah, that's being a hypocrite. And so if it means that I got to say exactly what I know needs to be said and do it like it needs to be done, I run the risk of losing this industry that has put more plaques on my walls than I can count. They will be done with me if I ever go to this point. But can I live with myself if I keep playing this stupid game with these people? And the answer was no, you can't. And by the way, your sons are watching you, and what are they going to do when they grow up and get out of the house? They'll go, well, yeah, I really don't like how this is going, but you know what Dad did? Yeah. Dad just yelled at the TV, rolled over and took the check, and kept going, which is the problem with a lot of Americans and Christians, that they'll just roll over and get along and stay in a nice, easy, comfortable spot instead of taking the harder route and punching through it.
This is a good time to talk about Revelation. You mentioned it a moment ago, which is this incredible song you wrote this year. And you said, I'm going to quote, "It felt like a hammer hit me in the back of the head." Was it physical? Was it a jolt?
I mean, no, not like a physical hammer, but it was, if you could take a thought and pound it into your head as if you hit yourself with a hammer, that's what it felt like. It was minding my own business, And I mean, out of nowhere, boom, I could hear the melody. I could hear the lyrics. I'm seeing that revelation. This is when, there's been so much intensity placed upon our country and so many things going on that I have read about in the Bible my entire life, and I've heard it preached my entire life. And not until recently have many of those things even been possible to be carried out. Most of Revelation and Daniel and 2 Thessalonians and places that talk about the end times seem like science fiction to people, including my own father. He goes, we never could understand how these things could be possible. He says, until recently. And now it's really easy to track everybody on the face of the earth. It's really easy to control how you spend your money and what you're allowed to buy and sell, which is what the mark of the beast is about. He said, with the advent of tech, where we are in the world today, the globalization of everyone, that is new. That's new. That allows for these things to now take place. Doesn't mean they're going to take place tomorrow or even in my lifetime, but it's now possible, and we're looking at it. So I've been thinking about that and really scrutinizing things and watching, and that's when that song came. And I realized, Raymond, nobody had written this song.
Yeah.
I started going back through gospel bands, Christian artists,
Couldn't
country
find
artists. I could not find anybody that literally wrote what the book says in the book of Revelation.
And Saint Michael, the archangel, and the battle with Lucifer. I mean,
The whole thing is in there.
all of that is there.
All of it.
In the song.
Yeah, and it's throughout the Bible. Oh, it's in the song.
It's in the
absolutely.
song.
Yeah, the video, the goal of the video was, can we show what spiritual warfare would look like if it came into the physical?
Uh-huh.
I remember telling my video director, Doc Abbott, who lives here in Nashville, he goes, how do we do that? I go, probably CGI. I said, I've got a great guy that works with Tom McDonald, who's probably my favorite rapper alive out in California. And he has a lot of CGI in his videos. I called Tom, told him the idea. He goes, oh yeah, you need to work with Jared. Jared's up in Washington State. So I sent it to Jared. He goes, that's going to be difficult, but I'm definitely capable of making that happen. I said, I want the devil and Michael the Archangel to have a battle with me standing in between them. That's what I'm looking for. He goes, okay. And so we shot it, and that's what the video is.
Yeah,
you ever seen a video like that?
No, I've never seen a video like that. Never heard a song like that either.
Yeah.
It's a prophetic song in many ways. Do you think of it that way?
No, because the song is not really even a song. It's me saying what the pages of the book say. I just made them rhyme. Those are not my words. Those are John's words.
Well, but those are prophetic. It's a prophetic book.
It's prophetic words.
It's yesterday and today.
Spoken by the prophet John.
Yeah.
As he was exiled to Patmos, he's writing what he's seeing and hearing, and that becomes the book of Revelation. And 2,000 plus years later, we're standing in situations that look an awful lot like what he was talking about. And so here's your lone songwriter who, thank God, doesn't have a record deal, publishing deal, or any company that can tell me I can't put that song out.
Because you would never have been able to write that.
No, not in a million years. Never. You would have never heard the song. If I had a record deal, that song does not get heard.
I forgot you were at the Mandalay Bay shooting.
Right.
You were performing with Jason Aldean. What did you think when that hail of gunfire started falling on these poor people? It almost hit you. You were there, what, 45 minutes before?
I was there 45 minutes before the bullets started flying through the drum risers on the stage. So, Big and Rich, we opened for Aldean that night.
Yeah.
And so, as soon as we got through playing, we left on the bus. I actually had a Redneck Riviera kind of satellite little bar over there, and we'll go over there and hang out with the local band and, get ready to leave town. We get over there and we're up there singing a little bit. The security man comes up to me and he goes, stop the music, stop the music. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, stop the music. They pulled the plug, killed the PA. I went, what is going on? And they say there's a mass shooting happening at where you guys just were at the concert. I went, what? So everybody got quiet. We turned on the local news. We had, you had TVs everywhere.
Yeah.
And the local news is reporting if you were anywhere near Mandalay Bay, Bellagio, or Caesar's Palace, get away from the windows. Well, we were looking right at Bellagio. We're looking at the fountains and all that. Wow. I'm like, everybody get away from the glass. So you go get off in the corner. And I remember looking down, you can hear all this racket going on. We're kind of up high. We're looking down, and you could see police squads moving through the streets down below. I'm like, okay, so somebody's on the loose through the town. So I said, somebody needs to hold point on this front door. And I asked, has anybody got a weapon in here? And everybody went, no. Well, I did.
You're the only one.
Yeah, I had a Colt 45 in my belt. So I pulled it out, start walking to the front door. We got a glass door. And this big old cop, Officer Brown, flops his badge out. And I looked at him. I thought, oh, I'm in trouble because I have a firearm. First thing I thought. He goes, I'm a police officer, Minneapolis Police Department. I'm here with my wife on our honeymoon. Can I have that and let me protect the door?
Wow.
I said, yes, sir. And I turned the gun around. I said, it's not chambered. And he grabbed it and went, it is now. And he racked it, got down on one knee and put his elbow up on the T-shirt table there and just held point on that door because for all we knew, somebody was coming straight through the door. I got back home after all that had happened and going through my suitcase. And I found the hotel key because we were staying at the MGM. Found the hotel key, and I'm watching the news, and I'm looking at the room number on my hotel key, and I'm looking at the news going, hang on a minute. My ceiling of my room was the floor of that guy that was lobbing those bullets.
The shooter.
All day I'd been up in that room just waiting for the show to start. He was literally right there all day long.
Are you satisfied with the answers that we've gotten about this guy vanished?
What answer?
This old man running back and forth between, you know how long that suite was.
Yeah, what answer? There are more cameras per square inch in Las Vegas, Nevada than probably any city on earth. There are cameras everywhere, everywhere. Can't find any camera footage. The cameras, we don't have cameras. Reminds me of other things I've heard since then. And then you start thinking about, well, how in the world can one guy sit in a hotel room like that, because my hotel room would have been exactly like his, and fire thousands and thousands of rounds and not choke to death? That's the first thing I thought. I'm a shooter. I'm like, man, if you fire enough rounds outside, you can start going, okay, clear the air. He's inside a hotel room doing this. And then you think about what the local news said, get away from these hotels and get away. And then national news took it. And I remember seeing the big FBI guy leaning over that sheriff while the sheriff, his hands are just shaking like a leaf, trying to read the statement. There's the FBI. I'm going, what happened? What really happened here? Anybody that was there, anybody that was around that situation, none of us believe a word that we were told. And I'm hoping in this new administration, that is one of the things. There's many, but I hope they tell us what that actually was, what actually went down. A lot of people died. Over 50 people got killed at that concert.
Your fans. Yeah. Your fans.
Yes.
You had met with some of these people who were victims of this right before the concert.
That died. Yeah, that died. A young man came through with his wife in the meet and greet. Big fan, took pictures with him. And I got word that when the bullets came in, he turned his back to where the bullets were coming, shielding his wife, and he took several rounds in the back and he died. And, they deserve answers. Yeah. We deserve answers. And pardon me for being so skeptical when you go through something like that and you go back and look at it and go, that is not true. That is not true what they're telling us. And America knows that. A lot of things have happened in our country that America knows is not the truth.
We need answers, particularly for that. The shooting here in Nashville too, that school shooting here, not sufficient answers.
No.
And we're talking about babies and teachers shot.
Uvalde. Why are there cops standing in a hallway for an hour while this guy's executing kids? And they're all got bulletproof vests, rifles, everything they need to walk in that room and take that guy out. And they just stand there for an hour as the shots keep popping and killing these kids. Yeah, America's sick and tired of it. Honestly, that's one reason why Trump won. It is the gravity that finally got together of all these things, put all into one big package and drop it in your lap and go, Trump, fix this. Tell us the truth. Tell us what's going on. I have a feeling if we all know the real truth about everything, it would change America's future for probably a century because it'd be real hard to trick us in anything again for a long time.
Tell me about Redneck Riviera. I've loved the Redneck Riviera because I know the origins of that, but I'll bet a lot of people don't.
Yeah, the Gulf Coast.
Tell people where that title came from, why you had to call it Redneck Riviera.
Well, as a songwriter, it's one of my favorite phrases because it's funny, first of all.
Yep.
I like funny stuff. But it's basically back in the 60s, people living on limited income, which is still the way it is today, couldn't afford to go to the French Riviera, so where would they go? We're going to go to the Redneck Riviera. So that's like Destin, Florida, Gulf Shores, Alabama, Panama City Beach. And the beaches are pristine and the food is great and there's music everywhere and you can drive there. You can afford to stay there for a week and your family have a good time.
Yeah.
And so I always thought, man, what a great phrase. Growing up blue collar myself, I thought, yeah, I remember calling it Redneck Riviera when I was a kid. First time I ever got stung by jellyfish was in Panama City Beach. My dad drove us down there in a station wagon. And so I thought, that should be a brand unto itself. So I wanted to step out and build all-American, 100% made in the USA brand that reflected my life. Like basically, I grew up blue collar. My brain still works that way. But you go to a place you can afford because it's really nice and you make memories with the family. And can we give back to veterans through a brand, which we have, the Folds of Honor.
How many tuitions have you paid to Folds of Honor? A lot.
It'd be hard to say how many tuitions. The brand has generated $1.6 million since 2018. That's a lot for any brand, much less a privately owned small upstart brand. But I look at that as, the only reason guys with high school diplomas who grew up in a double wide in Texas and nothing fancy get to go out here and just shoot at the moon, literally, just go all the way as hard as you want to go and chase the American dream, is because of the United States military. Short of those men and women, you don't get to sit here and be on TV. I don't get to go make music. Nobody gets to do what they want to do, short of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness being kept intact by the U.S. military. And so Folds of Honor puts kids and spouses through college who lost their mom or dad or who have a family member who's 100% disabled that was the income earner. And so there's people all over the U.S. right now going to college partially subsidized by Redneck Riviera.
I love that. I love it. And you have the club here in Nashville, which is a great place.
Fun place.
If you're coming to Nashville, you should go to the Redneck Riviera. It's a lot of fun. It's a great bar. There's live music and you were one of the first country artists really to start. I mean, everybody followed John Rich's lead on this.
Well, not everybody. Alan Jackson had a place. Okay. There was a couple of the big dogs.
But
had
not
a couple
too many.
Places.
Not like it is now. Everybody and their dog's trying to get a place on Broadway.
It blew up. I mean, it truly. I think every building down there has a country artist's name on it at this point. But we tried to make the bar really be its own thing, and it really is. When you walk in the front door, we call it the Heroes Bar, and that's where if you're a vet, active duty, or a first responder, you get the seat. And the first drink's on the house, and the walls are covered in patches and military coins. Probably the proudest moment I've had seeing that place operate was a bunch of rowdy guys were down there having a bachelor party at the Redneck Riviera. And, I mean, they're getting, you can imagine. They're having a big time. And these two old Vietnam vets come walking in with their Vietnam veteran ball caps on. They come walking in. It's 6 deep at the bar. You can't get up to the bar. And I watch these bachelor party guys see those old men and got up out of their chairs and moved people out of the way and said, take my chair. Take my chair. And sat the old man down at their chairs, and then they got up. I mean, that was the coveted spot to sit, and respected those old men for their service. So that's really the culture of that kind of encapsulates the whole brand, really.
Well, and what the country should be.
I hope we get back to that.
I think we're getting there. I want to ask you quickly before I get to, I have a list of questions I ask everybody. Give me the state of country music through John Rich's eyes now. You've said there couldn't be a Loretta Lynn today. There couldn't be a Johnny Cash today. Why not? Especially when you hear those young artists reaching out to you privately and saying, thank you for saying that. Clearly, that's where they are. That's where the talent, music still is.
Yeah, so the talent of a Loretta Lynn or the talent of a Johnny Cash can exist in Nashville and does. There are people with unbelievable talent in Nashville that are coming up through the ranks. The part that's different is the record label's stranglehold on creativity. Back in the day, Johnny Cash could sing, I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. And they would let him put that out and let the fans decide if they like a song like that or if Johnny Cash is too crazy. I don't want to ever hear that again. That's really not how it is now. And I know that for a fact because I was in it. And then now all these artists that come to me and go, I'm going to play I'm going to send you a song I just wrote. The label's not going to ever let me put it out, but I wanted you to hear it anyway. They'll send me a song and it'll be making some kind of a cultural statement or something. And they won't even bother turning it in to the record label. It's almost like it's not censorship because nobody ever puts it forward to even be censored.
Self-censorship.
It's self-censorship.
They get they understand what's going to make it
It's a no-go, so why? Don't even try. And that's not healthy.
No. Okay, I got to put my hat on. Can you throw that hat to me for a second?
It's good.
I got to put my hat
If
on.
I didn't know, I think that's my hat.
I got it. It almost looks
That's a
like a
good-looking
John
hat,
Rich hat.
man.
Look at that.
Look at you.
That's a big one,
Come
guy.
on now. All right, one tip. Pull it down a little bit lower. There you go. That's it. That's
I got the John Rich.
That guy's ready for the
There we
Grand
go.
Ole Opry, ladies
All
and
right,
gentlemen.
here we go, ladies and gentlemen. They won't let me on the Opry. That'll bring down the stage forever. Okay, these are my Arroyo Grande questionnaire questions I ask everybody.
Okay.
These are rapid fire, but they're important. Who is the person you most admire?
My dad.
Why?
Because he is unyielding and relentless.
You took the lesson well, my friend. Who's the person you most despise?
Right now, Sean Combs and anybody like him.
What is your best feature?
Loyalty.
Ah. And your worst?
Which one should I pick?
Pick a card, any card.
I would say rushing to judgment.
The last great book you read, and your favorite book. I think I know the answer to this one.
Well, I mean,
Discounting the Bible, because I know that's at
not
the
counting
top.
not counting the Bible.
Yeah.
Hillbilly Elegy is one of my all-time favorite books. To be honest
great
with you,
book.
yeah, reminds me of
Great book.
where I grew up, my people.
The American people.
Yeah.
What do you fear, John?
Something happening to my kids.
We all fear that, all of us. The greatest virtue is what?
Patience.
I think we have a shared lack of that, John,
Yeah, no
if I
doubt.
had to guess.
No doubt.
What the word you could not live without?
Idiot. I say that word a lot every day. Look at this idiot.
Oh, you're so...
Sometimes I'm looking in the mirror and go, look at this idiot.
Oh, no, you shouldn't do that. If you could live anywhere, where would you live?
Probably just outside of Yellowstone.
Wow. Except in the winter.
No, in the winter too.
Gets a little deep in
That's
the winter.
fine with me.
Wow.
Yeah, I like it out there.
Beautiful country.
Good air.
Beautiful country. What is your biggest regret, John?
Not
There it
jumping
is.
that train and getting the hell out of this interview.
We're almost done. Your biggest regret, John, besides jumping the train?
Biggest regret, probably disrespecting my father in my youth. I've apologized since then, but still, I regret it.
The best piece of advice you ever got was what?
You're never truly free until you can say no.
Who gave it to you?
Larry Gatlin.
Wow. You're never truly free until you can say no. I love that.
That's right.
If you could not do what you're doing now, if you weren't a singer and a songwriter, what would you be? What would you like to do? What else were you called to do, do you think?
Something where I can inspire people, whatever that would be. I've always thought if I'd ever gone into the military, I would have been a guy that would have really probably enjoyed that and excelled at it. Being around other really competent people, younger ones especially, bringing them up. I don't know that it would have been military, but something that would have put me in a spot where I can communicate like that.
Final question. What happens when this life is over?
When this life is over, every single human being that's ever lived stands directly in front of the Son of God, and he will either say, come on in, or he'll say, depart from me, I never knew you. One or the other. And the only way you get into heaven is by submitting your entire life and will to Jesus Christ. Going to church will not get you in. Academia about the Bible will not get you in. All of your philosophy will not get you in. Doing good deeds will not get you in. If that was the case, the thief on the cross would have never gone into heaven. That's what happens when you die.
Well, you're on your way there, my friend. God bless you. Great
being
to
with
see
you, man.
John.
Yes,
a pleasure.
Sir. See you
Thank
next time. Hat looks good. Man.
I'm never taking it off now.
Here's Diddy.
Least in town.
Give me one of these. There you go.
Thank you, John.
Here's the whole. I love that John Rich, like all great artists, uses his gift to reflect his values and his time. Whether it's his outrage over Diddy or concerns about where the country is headed, and that advice he gave was golden. I hope you listened. When everything's out of your control, find the one thing you can still control and control it.
Do the one right thing you're capable of and build from there. And I love that he holds on to his hat, which I'm going to do too. Why live a dry, narrow, constricted life when if you fill it with good things, it can flow into a broad, thriving Arroyo Grande? I'm Raymond Arroyo. Make sure you subscribe, like this episode. Thank you for diving in, and we'll see you next time. Arroyo Grande is produced in partnership with iHeart Podcasts and is available on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.